Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today we're going to be talking about LBPS, going with the name 4D Pharma PLC. Now a quick overview on this company, I'll be giving that, as well as a bit of technical analysis, and as well some estimates regarding where it can land. So let's jump right into this one. So first off, 4D Pharma. They say they're pioneers in harnessing bacteria as a revolutionary new class of medicines called live biotherapeutics. And what best to know more about them than in more of an updated presentation back on April 2021. And then going on here, you're able to see a little bit of who they are. So they're pioneering a new therapeutic class while validating unique discovery platforms such as the MicroRx, harnessing bacteria functionality in high-impact disease area with a strong corporate position as a leading innovator in the LBP space. Now this, for instance, they have 65 patent families and more than 1,000 granted patents, becoming the US listing company as of March 2021 was a key part of raising more money. Now, a big part of this one here is what they actually do. So they have parts in, or their pipeline goes down to immunology, CNS, vaccines, immunology, and gastrointestinal. So the broader pipeline is in gray, the blue ones is in core focus. Currently, they do have different things going into phase 3, for instance, such as the gastrointestinal Blautix, irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, and going to phase 2, for instance, like MicroRx0518, urothelial carcinoma combination with Bavinicio. So you get to see that they are in different places in different pipelines. But moving on there, we'll go towards partnerships in a minute. And another thing here is MRX0518 is a TLR5 agonist that as both monotherapy and in combination with immune checkpoint inhibitor is a well-tolerated modulator of tumor microenvironments. And so some of the data here are expected in 2021, for instance, to pancreatic cancer assessing the local and systematic tumor and immune response. And also another one expected to commence in 2021 is Bavinicio combination as a first-line maintenance for urothelial carcinoma. I'm having a hard time pronouncing some pharma in terms, so bear with me there. We're going to move on from there. And you get to see the current study status is that 42% clinical benefits observed in Part A. Meanwhile, 24 patients are enrolled in Part B, and Part B expands to TNBC, HNSCC, and MSIH/DMMR tumors, and expected to complete enrollments by the first quarter of 2021. Moving on from there, you're looking into some big names of collaboration. For instance, they have entered into clinical collaboration and drug supply agreements with Merck, KGaA, and Pfizer regarding anti-PD-1 Bavinicio for Vilump. Now, the phase 2 trial of MRX0518 plus Bavinicio as a first-line maintenance therapy in patients with unresectable, locally advanced or metastatic urothelial carcinoma. And the trial is expected to commence in 2021. And then moving on from there, some of the upcoming news that we're looking for instance here, MSD, or actually before we go there, MSD World Partner, this is some of the collaboration platform. They develop up to 3 indications using or utilizing MicroRx platform, upfront payment and equity investments with up to a total potential value of $1 billion. Now, up to $347.5 million in milestone payment per indication in addition to royalties on any net sales. Now, in terms of the corporates, just a quick thing that they did have a reverse merger with a company called Longevity Acquisition Corp. And so it is technically a SPAC, but they did raise $40 million out of that, extending the cash runway into Q2 2022. Now, some of the things that are coming up in 2021 for PRs. MRX0518 Keytruda phase 1 to 2 part B initial data, and then MRX0518 phase 1 pancreatic cancer for preliminary data, and MRX4DP0004 phase 1 to 2 asthma preliminary data, and MRX0518 commence Bavinicio combination study, and MRX4DP0004 phase 2 COVID-19 preliminary data. And you get to see some of their teams, for instance, or majority of their team does have extensive experience. For instance, Roche there for Dr. Catherine Rapula, GSK for Sandy McRae, and the list goes on there. So that's quite interesting. And we can move on a little bit towards some of the total revenues, for instance. And we see a good increase there in total revenues from year over year. I'm not sure how accurate this is. For all you know, it could be from the SPAC results, although price over sales is way up the roof at 341. I'll refer to that at the very end. I mean, they are in a research and development kind of sense, and a lot of those don't really show good price over sales. This is even trailing 12 months. So the general indication that might lie at is probably more of choppy at best. So next thing here is that you do have some operational highlights. So for instance, the announced safety improved conceptual clinical efficacy data for lead live biotherapeutics MRx0518, and then presented in the first clinical monotherapy data for live biotherapeutics in oncology with data in part A, launched a third clinical trial of MRx0518 in pancreatic cancer, and commencement and expansion of Part B, Phase 1 and 2 clinical trial of MRx0518, and the list goes on. And then since the period ended, they did raise or completed an $18.01 million pound, including gross fundraiser by the way of private placement, and an actual subscription deal of £1.44 million as well. They did appoint the CFO, John Beck, that came in from, and also the Paul Mayer as an independent non-executive director. So they have two more people on there. And on February 2021, they announced that their second oncology trial collaboration with a drug supplier agreement with Merck KGaA and Pfizer to evaluate MRx0518 in combination with the ICI Bavincio. Now, let's go on. We find the 13G filing that shows an investment by Olivia Stephen Michael of 11.67% of the entire company share back on the 12th of April. Now, their entire portfolio value is around $277 million, and they do have a bunch of companies, including Ideanomics, on there. But it looks like some of the biggest shares that they're holding relatively to other like Ideanomics values, you're looking into LBPS. And this is here in 2021. Now, another thing here is that you get to see a bunch of SEC filing relating to quote-unquote offering. These are part of the SPAC merger, and it's kind of almost a usual thing to see. Now, other recent developments that are here on the SEC filing doesn't tell us much new, other than exact details of the SPAC process itself. And then before we move on towards estimates, if you would like to see more contents like this, make sure to scroll down below, click that like button, subscribe, and turn notifications on for this channel. If you'd like to see more contents like this as well, you can join our Discord down below. It's free, there's no commitments. Now, in terms of the stock forecast, you're looking into, currently the high is 283% at $40 per share. The median is 39.54 at 279% increase, and low at a $35 of 235% increase. So the current estimate itself, it's the least it is, it's $35. So that is quite massive from these analysts. Now, some of these analysts don't really know what they're talking about, but it looks like you have two buy indicators from the analysts themselves. So that's definitely something that is really quite interesting, that a lot of these analysts are looking at. They're saying, well, I think this one is actually highly oversold and undervalued. Now, in terms of the market caps and etc., of course, you're looking into a company that, in a sense, is in research and development, so there's room to grow there. So let's move on now towards technical analysis. Now, on a one-day perspective, on the technical analysis point of view, we get to see that there has been an accumulation. It's pretty obvious. You don't need someone to tell you that. The ADX, though, supports that at a sub-10 level. Now, the William percent R, which is very similar to the RSI, shows a highly oversold stock. But the MACD here, here's where things get interesting. The histogram is going towards the positive side, which indicates in the next week or so, they will be attempting a positive reversal. Now, the 10 SMA is above the 30 EMA, which is a bullish thing. The trading action zone where most positive reversals occur is between 1186 and 1126. The current momentum is negative though, so you might actually start seeing perhaps a positive reversal in the next few weeks or next couple of weeks. Now, in terms of the stochastic fast and stochastic slow, you're both seeing them here almost in an accumulation part and looking for perhaps a reversal similar to what has happened here, here, or here. Now, in terms of the moving averages as well, you're looking at these moving averages and they're diving downwards, but they're expected to trade on the top 1309, 1190 in the middle, and 1071 in the bottom. Volumes have been a little bit slow. I mean, there have been some higher days and some lower days, but they've been comparably slow. Now, on the Fibonacci retracements, they give you kind of interesting support lines and resistances that are more of interest for algorithms, etc. But it's important to know them. So the Fibonacci retracements resistances levels are 1145, 1223, 1285, 1347, 1436, and 1550. Current support, 1020. Now, if you were to just use price line action, there's a very strong support sitting at 1042. Resistances, you're looking at 1092. Above there, you're looking up to 1157. From there on, 1201, going upwards to 1252. From there, 1266, going upwards to 1298, 1326, 1365, $14, and 1455. Comes to the question to Ed, what do you think about this one? There's definitely a lot of consensus in the market that this one would have a price point of at least of $35, which technically makes it oversold and undervalued. And so, in my perspective, I myself don't like pharma as much, but in terms of pharmas, I've seen a lot worse do a lot better. So I think that this one would probably see better price points in the future, given that they do have all the key points and they just need to, a bit of luck there as well. So they have a rigid pipeline, they have good management, good partnerships, and good capital. And the question is here, how are they going to move forward? And hopefully they'll be able to really break point with these pipelines and realize them towards sales to improve those price over sales and revenue values. Now, what do you think about the sticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like it. Have a wonderful day. Now, if you made it this far into the video, I do recommend that you go ahead and join our Discord server. There's a lot of amazing folks in here. We do a lot of discussions here into the trading floor throughout the day. A lot of people are in there, and we do ask questions. You can ask me any question you would like on there. We do post research and DDs, and we hold weekly chat sessions. And we also do have a lounge in there. So make sure to actually join that and join the fun there. Have a wonderful day and a good one.